Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
Parish Built from your hometown. Parishbuilt.com.
Takes the handoff. It's a refurbished.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. It's NFL Combine Week in Indianapolis. ESPN's Pete Thamel reports Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty is the latest prospect to say he will not work out for NFL teams this week. Yankees DH Giancarlo Stanton is leaving spring training and heading back to New York for medical tests. The New York Post reports the nature of those tests is unclear, but Stanton is battling tendonitis in both elbows after playing with pain for much of last season. The Celtics are the reigning NBA champs, and ESPN's Kendrick Perkins believes they'll win it again.
It's not one single team in the league that's going to beat this team in the 7-game series. Not OKC, not the Denver Nuggets, not the New York Knicks, not the Cleveland Cavaliers, not the Milwaukee Bucks. No team.
Kendrick Perkins. College basketball, Utah fires Coach Craig Smith in his 4th season. Auburn is the unanimous #1 in the new men's college basketball poll. Texas is now #1 in the women's poll for the first time in 21 years.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, Shedeur Sanders won't work out at the Combine, and I'll tell you why that's a miss for all of the top quarterback prospects. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Musona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Musona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Jam-packed weekend. We got Tiger Baseball. We got the Saints adding a couple of assistants. We got Graff next hour. Dellucci's here in hour 3. The Combine's getting underway. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, jam-packed weekend. Let's start out at the box. Tigers take 2 of 3 from Omaha. Oh, Muse. How could you do it, Muse? I mean, starting blocks of the week, Muse. Starting blocks of the week. Stumbled right out of them. Not a good sign for the week.
Now it's not even in my folder. That's a really bad sign.
Okay. You know what? Start the whole thing over. Tigers take 2 out of 3 from Omaha this past weekend out of the box.
LSU in Tennessee.
That's not it. Muse?
Omaha!
Muse?
Yeah.
Muse?
Yeah.
Go away.
No,
Get out.
I had it, and
get
then
out
it didn't work.
Muse, get out of here. And that is plumb awful. People say, "Oh, you're too hard on Muse." Feel like Adam Sandler. My
I was going to say liar, liar, but yeah, that works too.
Or Steve Carell in Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, yep.
All right. Let's talk some baseball and not worry about the drop that Muse doesn't have. Or do you have it now? Oh, you have it now. I mean, this is the worst possible way to start a week. I can't even. And we walked in here, Muse going, "It's our day. It's our day."
It is our day.
It doesn't feel like
it's
it.
Our
I'll be
day.
very honest. It doesn't feel like it's our day.
Nope, it is.
All right. The Tigers win 2 out of 3 against Omaha. But everyone's going to focus, of course, on losing game 2 of the series, the first game of the doubleheader. Weird game, cold day, wind blowing in, and the Tigers have 17 fly ball outs. On a cold day where the wind's blowing in, the pitcher can't throw a strike, and you keep hitting the ball in the air. I think that was a complete and total lack of focus on your offensive approach. Jay Johnson, after the game, was asked about all the pop-ups there in game 2.
It was bad execution of our plan. I mean, got out of getting in position to hit, getting in position to see the ball, and seeing the right part of the ball, attacking the right part of the ball. Expanding the zone too much. I mean, some of them were strikes, and Omaha did a good job, man. Like, major hat tip to how they pitched, and obviously I'm partial because Michael played for me at Nevada, but we got to be better than that, and we will be better than that. We'll be much better on Monday night. There's no doubt in my mind.
You loaded the bases in the first and second without the benefit of a hit. That's how bad. Forgive me, Coach. That's how bad Omaha was. That's how bad Omaha was. Omaha! Muse, get out. Leave. Go. Paul, throw him out. You load the bases in the first and second without the benefit of a hit. You still don't score a run. You get no hit through 7 innings, which is unconscionable, but that's what happens, as Jay Johnson said, when you lack execution of the approach at the plate. You could have sat there. By the way, Weber, the starter, threw more balls than strikes over his 3 2/3 innings pitched. You could have quite literally just sat there with the bat on your shoulder, never swung, and he just kept hitting you, walking you, putting you on base. But in any event, Tigers ironed it out, and they scored 12 runs in game 3 and got going. Of note, there were a couple of I think, interesting lineup changes. In that game, too, Chris Stanfield sat. Of course, Stanfield had been playing center and leading off for you. He sat, so the outfield left to right, they went Larson, Curiel, Brown. And interesting, all 3 are left-handed hitters. So it's something to file away. If Jay is trying to stack the lineup in the future with a whole bunch of lefties against a righty, that could be an outfield you see. Of course, a very good defensive outfield with those 3. And I don't think, in this case, correlation equals causation. I don't think that because Stanfield was not there is why you lost the game. I think you had plenty of opportunities in that game where you left 11 men on base and just couldn't get enough guys home. I mean, heck, you rally in the 9th and you got the tying run on third base with 1 out. And you got Larson, Milam up. Larson strikes out, Milam pops out or flies out the center. So just disappointing that it went the way it did. But sometimes you learn lessons in losses. You'd rather learn lessons in close wins, but you learn lessons in losses. I think LSU is much better in game 2. Braswell didn't start game 3. That was interesting. Tanner Reeves got the start, played third base, and led off. Got on base a couple of times in the game and certainly acquitted himself quite well defensively at third base. Really nice play by Jared Jones as well, stretching on a couple of wide throws from Reeves. But all that said, Braswell has had a real slow start to this season offensively. We know Braswell can hit. He was one of your best a year ago. Braswell, as of right now, is hitting 176. He's 3 of 17. Is that right? 3 of 17 on the early season. So sometimes it's good just to, hey, look, go take a seat, let someone else get a shot. Braswell can hit. He can play at this level. He'll be fine. But it was interesting to see Reeves get a shot there. Dickinson went to the leadoff spot in game 3. Also of note, I think you might start, it's early, but you might be starting to see a little bit of separation at catcher. Hernandez has been your best guy offensively, certainly. 3 of his 4 hits have been doubles. He doubled in the 8th in Game 2 on the loss, and he doubled again, scored the first run in Game 3. He's hitting .333 on the season and pegged a runner at second base, attempting to steal in Game 3. I still think you have some real challenges defensively right now because you don't have a guy that is proven to be an elite defensive option behind the plate. But Hernandez is a guy that's got nearly 600 collegiate at-bats. He's an experienced player, and if you don't have one dominant tool, be it the glove or the bat, from one of these guys, you're going to play the experienced guy, and that's Hernandez right now. He's had a nice start to the season, if not overwhelming. So that's something worth keeping an eye on as well. I thought the arms were awesome again. And, you know, when Hunt wrote this over at LouisianaSports.net, and it was an interesting way to write it. Omaha scored in 1 inning in each of the 3 games. So that means your pitching staff threw up 8 zeros in each of the 3 games. So 27 innings over the weekend, and you threw up 24 zeros. Cade Anderson was really good again. He ran out of gas in the 6th. Let's see when his stamina starts to build. Anthony Ianson, it didn't start great. Literally the first pitch of the game, he bounced in the left-handed batter's box and went to the backstop. The second pitch went to the backstop as well, up and in. Walked the first batter of the game, but then worked around it. And then set down 12 of 14 from the 3rd to the 6th. He was good. And then you've got Chase Shores, who at 6'8", throwing 100 miles an hour, is just an unfair advantage in Game 3s. Now, we'll see if the rotation stays this way. But if it does stay that way and Shores is your number 3, then you go into every weekend going, all right, I feel really good about my Game 3 guy against your Game 3 guy, whoever it is you're going to face. And all 30 league games, I mean, they all count the same. So if you win all 30 Game 3s, it's a pretty good leg up. All 10 Game 3s. It's a good leg up. So giving up the 5 spot in Game 2 was tough to watch. And I know a lot of people have asked, why haven't we seen Gavin Guidry? But I think Gavin Guidry is going to start tonight. I don't know. They haven't announced yet what they're going to do. But Jay said last week the plan was to pitch Guidry against Nichols. That game got canceled. It would stand to reason he's going to pitch tonight. I'm just using some deductive reasoning here. And then you start Connor Ware Wednesday against Dallas Baptist in Arlington. That's just what I think they'll do. We'll find out soon enough. But, I look at it and I go, all right, I know what Gavin Guidry can do in that situation. He's been in leverage situations his whole career. I don't know what Grant Fontenot is going to do in that spot. I don't know what Connor Benj is going to do. Well, Grant Fontenot he had an 0-2 count, hit a guy. Hit the next guy when he's trying to bunt. So now you got 2 on. You bring in Connor Benj. Well, Benj throws one into center field, and it gives up the 3-run homer. I mean, that stinks. I think he's going to be a really good – Benj is going to be a really good pitcher for you throughout the course of the season, and is going to be in some impactful situations. That was just one that stunk. I mean, he gave up a 3-run bomb in a tight ball game. So, but other than that, man, and Jacob Myers, the command issues that part of his story from a year ago popped up. He hit a couple guys, walked a couple guys, didn't allow a run, but he allowed the 1 run in Game 3, but still came up with 2 strikeouts. But other than that, man, you just continue to see a lot of these guys emerge. Casey Evans was really good in the role. We got to see him again. Maverick Rizzi was good. They're deep and talented and fun to watch, and it's just fun to see this evolution. Losing Game 2 sucks, and I know a lot of people say that, but I'll remind you, Cal Poly went to College Station and beat Texas A&M yesterday. It's the number 1 team in the country that lost to Cal Poly. So losses happen. The greatest team ever, the 27 Yankees, lost ball games. Everybody's going to lose games. It's just a matter of continuing to find the best version of yourself so you're playing at home in May and June. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. Of course, the big man on the cul-de-sac sweepstakes still going on. You want to win that great prize pack, you can. Just share your photo of your big man on the cul-de-sac moment. You'll get the pic. It's the Shane Gillis, the Post Malone, Peyton Manning commercial from the Super Bowl. And the winner is going to get a Traeger grill, a Bud Light grill set, the Bud Light leaf blower, and the apron as well. The leaf blower, they call it the launcher. That's what in the commercial, they're launching the Bud Lights out of it. Anyway, check it out. The big man on the cul-de-sac sweepstakes. I mean, the Traeger grill is worth it alone. So post your picture, tag Mockler Beverage, hashtag BMOC, and you could be the winner. Whatever you're doing, make sure if it's crawfish boil, if it's LSU baseball tonight, basketball, whatever you're doing. Mardi Gras parades. Make sure you got plenty of ice cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, I got a quick break, y'all. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. When we come back, Saints have added 2 more assistants to Kellen Moore's staff. We'll tell you about it next. It's AFR.
After further review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always go to getgordon.com or you can call him 888-8888, 888-8888, or go to getgordon.com. Always encourage you to go learn more about Gordon, about his team. You can go to the About Us section of the website at getgordon.com. Just tap the About Us section, and you'll see real client results. You can actually see videos of their clients giving their testimonials of the results they had with Gordon and his team. It's so easy. Just go to getgordon.com, and you can see all that info right there at getgordon.com. What a great resource. You can chat with an associate right there on the website with the chat bot in the bottom right, or you can always just call them, 888-8888, 888-8888, or go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Kellen Moore added 2 more assistants to his staff. We'll get to that in just a second. Tiger basketball lost on Saturday to Florida. It was kind of actually incredible. The basketball game was going on the same time as the second game of the baseball doubleheader, so it's kind of hard to be locked into both. But the basketball team got down, then went on a 22-2 run. 22-2. LSU went on a 22-2 run against the number 2 team in America. I don't, this may be a question for like odds makers, maybe ask Otter later. Rare, if ever, will you see a team go on a 22-2 run and lose the basketball game. Stunning that it played out that way. And it was, with about 5 minutes to play, it was a 2-possession game. And then, boom, Florida just kicked, and it was over. It ended up winning about 14. So a disappointing loss on how it went that way. And, like we've talked about all season, it's not fair to him, but LSU offensively goes as Cam Carter goes. And this was a day where Cam Carter was not very good. He missed all 6 of his 3-point attempts. He was just 3 of 13 from the floor. Again, Cam Carter's a great player. He's LSU's best player, and I shudder to think even what they'd be without him this year. But it was just a day where Florida did a really good job taking them away. Matt McMahon was asked after the game how Florida limited Cam Carter.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job from an effort standpoint of flying at our shooters. I thought we could have been a little bit more precise in our passing to shooters. I thought we took ourselves out of rhythm on some of our passes there. But I thought when we had them open looks, I thought they ran at them with urgency to contest or run them off the 3-point line. And, just got them a couple looks off ball screens over there on the empty side. Just wasn't his night to knock those down tonight.
Florida had 19 offensive rebounds, 17 second chance points. They out-rebounded LSU 48-33. LSU went with a 4-guard lineup. Florida's really big and physical, and there you have it. LSU loses 79-65 at home. And the Tigers aren't winning again. I know we've said that. I'm not trying to be a poo-pooer, but they'll play Tennessee on Tuesday, and then they're at State, at Kentucky, home against A&M to finish up the regular season. Then they'll go play in the SEC tournament. And a nightmarish season will be over, and everything will start trending toward the future and how they might be able to utilize the transfer portal and some NIL funds to get Matt McMahon a roster where they can go compete in this very, very deep SEC. Not sure if you saw this. If you are going to the Tennessee game tomorrow, LSU is going to play Tennessee, another top 10 team in the Maravich Center. The first, is this first 1,000 students are going to, let me see. It's the first 1,000 students are going to get an LSU Mardi Gras themed jersey. What do we think about this? I know you got thoughts. Go ahead.
I like it. I think it's awesome.
It's awesome that Muse is actually paying attention now. We're talking about Mardi Gras jerseys.
I actually think LSU should wear those.
The Omaha drop out the shoot. I get nothing.
Omaha!
I hate the font on the 25.
I'll hear that argument, yeah.
The number font stinks, and I don't like also that it's only white and green. It should be trimmed with all the Mardi Gras colors there. That's my only complaint. But I do like, look, the
jersey's purple.
The jersey's purple. And that's a weird color green, too, on the
25?
On the numeral.
I agree with
it's
that.
almost like a teal.
Yeah.
Maybe it had to be that to make it pop. I don't know. But conceptually, I like it. And I don't even mind it as much of a jersey, a traditionalist as I am. But keep in mind, I usually talk about being a uniform traditionalist whenever we're talking about if you have like a classic look. I love this. On the neck, it says, "Let the good times roll" as a fleur-de-lis. I like that a lot. I like the green and yellow stripes around the neck and the sleeves. It's really good. I think it's good.
I like it a lot, yeah.
Tried to get one of those sweatshirts last week.
How'd that go?
Didn't get one. They let me down. I didn't get a baseball sweatshirt last week. I'm guessing I'm not going to get a basketball jersey tomorrow. Somebody wants to give me one, I'll compensate you. I wanted one of the baseball sweatshirts last week. I want one of these jerseys. I'll compensate you. I need someone to do me a solid. You're an LSU student, or if you're just in LSU's marketing department and you want to hook me up, I'll compensate you. Just snag one, put it to the side. I'm a large. All right, it's after further review. Graph here in 35 minutes. We'll talk to David Dellucci in hour number 3. Kellen Moore has added a couple of more assistants. And one of the things that's been pretty obvious about his staff so far is he's hired guys with whom he's familiar. Doug Nussmeier is going to be the offensive coordinator. They've been together since 2018. Brandon Staley's the defensive coordinator. You know Staley, when he was the head coach of the Chargers, hired Moore as his offensive coordinator. Brought a couple of other staffers from Philly. There's just a lot of familiarity and commonality there. So add another one. Kyle Wilbur has been added to the Saints staff. He's been the Packers special teams quality control coach. Wilbur, if the name sounds familiar, Kyle Wilbur spent 10 years in the NFL as a linebacker, first 6 years of his career with the Dallas Cowboys. That's when he overlapped with Kellen Moore. They were teammates in Dallas. When Wilbur retired, he immediately went into coaching. He was there with Green Bay as a special teams assistant, and now he will, or quality control, now he'll be the assistant special teams coordinator or an assistant, special teams coach in New Orleans, with Phil Galliano being promoted internally as the special teams coordinator. So another player with whom there's a lot of familiarity there for Kellen Moore that he's added to his staff, which is why this hire, the second one, is super odd. Because of all of the familiarity so far on Kellen Moore's staff, there's no connective tissue, at least none obvious, with adding Terry Joseph. Now, I like this a lot. Terry Joseph is, listen, the Joseph family in New Orleans are sort of, I don't know, they're kind of like a football royal family. From the high school ranks, from Terry Joseph and Vance Joseph, who's, of course, the defensive coordinator in the NFL right now. There are a long line of great athletes and football players and coaches from that lineage. Well, apparently, Ian Rappaport reported that the Saints wanted a defensive coach with college experience, and so they went and got Terry Joseph from Texas. The interesting part of this is, there's no connection at all. Wanting a college coach, okay, if that's what Kellen Moore wanted for whatever reason, okay. But there's no apparent shared experience with anybody on this current staff. So, Terry Joseph is a New Orleans native. Went to Shaw. He's coached all over the college ranks. After his playing career, and he actually played collegiate baseball at Northwestern State and played minor league ball for a handful of years, baseball, before becoming a football coach. He coached football at Shaw and then jumped into the college ranks. He was actually, his first college job, he was a GA at LSU under Les in 2006. That was Terry Joseph's first taste of college football. And then he just started, Louisiana Tech, Tennessee, Nebraska, Texas A&M, North Carolina, Notre Dame. He's been all over college football. And since 2021, he's been at Texas. So for the last 5 seasons, Terry Joseph has been a defensive backs coach at the University of Texas. He's a New Orleans native. He's got no NFL experience, and there's no shared experience on this staff. He's never coached with or against Kellen Moore, never coached with Brandon Staley on the defensive staff. The closest that they got, Terry Joseph in 2011 was a coach at Tennessee. The following year, Staley was an assistant coach for 1 year at Tennessee. So they missed each other by a year. So Joseph left after 11. Staley came in 12 in Knoxville. That's the closest that these ships ever were to passing each other. Maybe the timing is interesting. Joseph is 51 years old. I think, obviously, this is an opportunity to come coach the NFL team in his hometown. Maybe he's looking at Texas going, perhaps this is where Texas takes a little bit of a step back after the college football playoff team this past season. They're losing a ton of that talent, including Quinn Ewers. Of course, you got Arch, but you're losing a lot of guys from that Texas team. The returning production numbers over at ESPN, the SP Plus returning production numbers came out today on Monday, and Texas is in the triple digits. They're like 110th or something like that in the country in returning production. Probably an opportunity to make more money as well. Terry Joseph at Texas, his salary this past season was $825K. He's coming to New Orleans as the defensive pass game coordinator because he'll have coordinator on his title. He'll very likely make more money. So coach in the NFL, coach in your hometown, make more money. All of that checks boxes, right? There's all those reasons why Terry Joseph would take the job. It's just interesting why and how Kellen Moore identified Terry Joseph to say, that's the guy I want on my staff. But this is an interesting time to come to New Orleans as well, because in that position group, in that secondary, it feels like this is going to be a formative type year where you've got young guys, Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry, trying to elevate themselves. You've got Paulson Adebo, who's a free agent, but coming off an injury where I think we're all hoping the Saints are able to re-sign Paulson Adebo, but that doesn't seem like a certainty at this point. At safety, Tyrann Mathieu is nearing the end of his career, and you desperately need help at the other safety spot. So there's maybe some clay there to be molded in that secondary by Terry Joseph, which is why this could be an interesting time. Some young players, some turnover, new coach, new system, a little bit of maybe some autonomy in the defensive secondary, coming home, probably making a little bit more money. A lot of that seems like it could make sense for Terry Joseph at this time, but an interesting hire, to say the very least, one that's very much off the radar because there are no lines pointing to either Staley or Kellen Moore throughout his coaching lineage. But Terry Joseph, New Orleans football royalty, the Joseph family, Terry Joseph coming to New Orleans, coach the Saints as the defensive pass game coordinator, the latest addition to Kellen Moore's staff. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration. Kill mold, remove odor, have mold, or think you might. Our friends over at Parish Restoration can help. Look, it rained all day Sunday. If you had water intrusion that created a mess for you, you need to clean it up, Parish Restoration can help. Go to their website, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. That's the website. You can get in touch with our friends over at Parish Restoration. Again, if you have mold or odor, you need to get rid of it. Maybe it's sanitization services. So much flu is going around right now. Schools, office buildings, churches, whatever it may be, workout facilities, gyms. Let them come in. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. It's cost-effective. It's efficient. It's Parish Restoration. Go to parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Okay, y'all, it is After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll knock out a quick break. Todd Graffagnini here in about a half hour. NFL tinkering with changing the kickoff rule. Again, we'll get to that in 15 minutes. When we come back, we'll go around the SEC and an update from the Scouting Combine. Stick around with us here at AFR.
After Further Review.
Well, the weather can't seem to make up its mind. What do you want to do? And last week, we're in the 20s. Tomorrow we'll be in the 70s. Makes it really hard to dress yourself. Got to check the weather every single day. Well, I don't know. It's 40 in the morning, but it's going to be 72 today. I don't know what to do. Sometimes your HVAC system doesn't know either. I mean, you turn it on the heater, you turn it off the heater. You turn it on the AC, you turn it off the AC. The AC runs for a week, then it's off for 2 weeks, and it's back on because it's 80. Here's the bottom line. If you got issues with your HVAC system, you got to call River City's 1 Hour Air. They're the best. Big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. You see them all over town. River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Technicians are expertly trained. They invest in their people to make sure they have the best technicians, and they'll always give you the best price and the best service. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
Need service now? Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you same-day appointments for service, and we offer pickup and delivery of your vehicle from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. If you need sales and service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Parish Construction and Roofing. This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs. From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime. At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and
Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Johnson into the front court. Clock is ticking down. Horn sounds. Ball game is over. And from 16 down, LSU wins in Lexington. The final score is LSU 65 and Kentucky 58.
Patrick Wright on the LSU Sports Radio Network. I think if you didn't watch the LSU women's game against Kentucky on Sunday, fine. I think that was their most impressive win of the season. You're on the road against the number 14 team in the country. Kentucky going into that ball game was 21-4. They were 10-3 in the league. It was a good basketball team. And you went and you played with your food in the first half, and you found yourself down 16. And, to be a fly on the wall at halftime, what Kim Mulkey said. I'm sure Hester and T-Bob will ask about it when they have her on tomorrow. By the way, every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Central, Hester and T-Bob interview Kim Mulkey. I would always recommend you listen to it. It's like appointment listening. Even if you don't love basketball or women's basketball or whatever, just to listen to her is incredible. But to be a fly on the wall with what she had to say at halftime, and then LSU comes out and you flip the switch and you outscore Kentucky 23-6 in the third quarter. Let me say that again. You were trailing by 16 in the first half, and you outscore them 23-6 in the third quarter. It was a complete reversal. Defensive intensity cranked up. You started dominating them on the rebound, on the boards, and the game went clearly the way that it did. I think that's the most impressive win because of how it manifests. You found yourself down, and you showed, we can just we can flip a switch, lock in, and be a dominant team. And that's, I think, what they showed themselves. Kim Mulkey, after the game, talked about the national championship. And it really does feel like a year where there isn't just a surefire, no doubt, runaway, better than everybody winner, like a UConn team that wins 100 consecutive games or something like that. I mean, this feels like one of those years, and Kim Mulkey said as much.
Guys, it's a wide open race for whoever is playing good at the end of the year to win a national championship, and we need to be in that mix. Why not? You don't have to win your conference to be in the mix. We won the Natty my second year at LSU, and we finished second. There's about 7 teams out there that are capable of winning it all. And I said, why can't we talk about us a little bit? You've had a tremendous year, and you let them know it hasn't been that we're blowing people out. That may be a blessing that we've had to grind and win games on last-second shots, and we've had to execute, and then we lost a couple that we didn't execute on at the end of ball games. So keep doing that. Just keep doing that, and you never know what's going to happen.
2 more games for the Tigers in the regular season. They'll play at Alabama later this week. Then they're home against Ole Miss. Then they're off to the SC tournament, and we'll see what the draw look like in the postseason. All right, Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors. Hardy Plank vinyl siding, they do it all. They do it better than anyone. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Missouri Tigers.
Missouri is joining a growing trend of schools canceling their spring game. They won't hold a spring game this year or next year. Eli Drinkwitz made that announcement during his pre-spring press conference. He said construction projects for the home stadiums, primary reason why they're doing it. Yeah. Texas, Southern Cal, Nebraska already announced they've canceled their spring games as well.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee offensive lineman Andrej Karic has been denied a medical waiver by the NCAA. He was trying to get an extra year of eligibility in 2025. Knoxville News Sentinel was the first to report the news. Karic started all 13 games at left guard for Tennessee this past year, so it would have been a big boost had they been able to get him back. Just denied his waiver despite suffering a season-ending injury during his first season with the Vols back in 2023. He started 4 games for Tennessee that season, that was injured in the 5th game of the year.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Bama's got a commitment from Harvest, Alabama native and 3-star edge rusher Jamarian Matthews. 6'2", 240. Picked Alabama over Clemson, Florida State, Penn State, and others. 3rd commit for the class of 2026. Tell you what, Bama landing 3-star edge rushers. Super on brand for Kalen DeBose.
The Florida Gators. And
Alex Condon has a timeline now for his return. 3rd-ranked Gators kind of getting healthier. Condon set to make his return against Georgia this week, barring any setbacks. Todd Golden made that announcement to local reporters there on over the weekend. Condon hadn't played since he sprained his ankle 30 seconds into the Mississippi State game back on February the 11th, but he's been making his comeback, averaging 10-7 for the Gators on the season. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. We're going to have David Dellucci with us in hour number 3. Bought his hunting property from First South Farm Credit. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com. We're inching here toward tax season. If you're thinking of ways that maybe you could lighten that tax burden for 2025, talk to your CPA. Purchasing timber property could have great tax benefits. Talk to your CPA to see if that's something that would fit for you. Maybe you want to buy those 20 acres, the 100 acres to build your family's dream home. You can do it. First South Farm Credit can help, because for more than 100 years, our friends at First South Farm Credit have done one thing: help Louisianians buy land. That's why your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Just as a little footnote, Oh, we are going to talk to Josh Edwards in 45 minutes. Talk some kind of a little precursor for the scouting combine, which gets underway in Indianapolis this week, or as our good friend Mike Detillier would call it, the Pajama Olympics, the Pajama and Slipper Olympics. But it is a necessary part of the draft evaluation process. So we'll talk about that with Josh, who to keep an eye on, what players the Saints might be looking at. We'll talk about the 8 LSU guys that were invited to the combine. That's coming up in about 45 minutes from right now. Shedeur Sanders has already announced he will not throw. He will not work out at the scouting combine this week. He'll meet with teams there in Indianapolis. Look, for what it's worth, this is a regular trend among quarterbacks. Last year, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, none of them threw at the combine. They went 1, 2, 3 in the draft. And it makes sense. I have no problem with quarterbacks not throwing. Throw at your pro day where you get to throw with your receivers where you've developed timing. It's going to... Why wouldn't you put yourself in the best possible situation to succeed? So you're a quarterback, timing matters, routes, familiarity, setting, all that. Yes, go throw with people in a place where you are familiar. And the thing about Shedeur is I do think that Shedeur Sanders is ultimately going to end up being the number 1 pick in the draft. He was, a lot of people don't realize this. Over 2 seasons at Colorado, he completed 71.8% of his passes. That's an FBS record. He led the country this year, completing 74% of his passes. He led the Big 12 in passing yards, touchdowns, passing yards per game, completions, and attempts. Like, a lot of Shedeur's effectiveness and darn right brilliant play got overshadowed because of his dad and because Travis Hunter was on his team. Not to mention the fact that in his first season at Colorado, he was beat to holy hell because his offensive line stunk, and the kid never complained. Tough as hell. I think the world of Shedeur Sanders. I think he's the best player in this draft. If the Saints were picking number 1 overall and they took Sanders, I'd be thrilled with that. No thing is a sure thing in the NFL draft. Some things might feel like they're close to a sure thing, but Shedeur Sanders is the guy that I would take if I had the number 1 overall pick. We'll see if he ultimately gets there, but he's not going to throw at the combine this week in Indy. Again, we'll talk about that with Josh Edwards coming up here in about 45 minutes. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll wrap up hour number 1 when we come back here on AFR.
AFR.
Y'all, we're moving closer and closer and closer to springtime. And springtime is when you start to get FOMO. Because your friends have a pool, your family, your neighbors have a pool, and you don't have a pool. And you've been thinking about putting a pool in for years, but you've never pulled the trigger. And you might have even done some research before and shopped around and talked to some pool builders. I'm going to make a suggestion to you that I hope you will take to heart. I want you to call Duplessis Builders. DuplessisBuilders.net is the website, DuplessisBuilders.net. You can even go to the website, hit the Our Book tab at the top. Derek is so intentional and precise with the way that he puts all of these jobs together that he even wrote a book about their process, and he gives it to you for free so you can be a more informed buyer. Bottom line is, there's a lot of companies that build beautiful pools. Duplessis is one of them, but nobody offers you a 10-year workmanship warranty except Duplessis because their pools are built to last. DuplessisBuilders.net.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Need service now? Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you same-day appointments for service, and we offer pickup and delivery of your vehicle from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. If you need sales and service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
All right, wrapping up hour number one. Two things I want to get to here quickly. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. If you want to text the show, you can always do that. The NFL Competition Committee and Chairman Rich McKay, who's the Falcons CEO, told reporters on Sunday that they're considering more changes to the kickoff return. So the dynamic kickoff that the NFL implemented in 2024 worked nearly to perfection. They saw a 57% rise in kickoff returns and a lower injury rate. So you had more returns and lower injuries. That is a win-win. Hat tip Darren Rizzi. His idea for the dynamic kickoff was implemented, and it was awesome. So they're trying to figure out how they can get even more kickoff returns into the game. One thing they're discussing is giving teams possession at the 35 for a touchback rather than the 30. That would be a big yo. They're also talking about making kickoffs, the kicking team or the kicker move back from the 35 to his own 30, which, again, would encourage shorter kicks or kicks that wouldn't go into the end zone so you wouldn't have the touchback. The one thing I'd worry about is teams that fair catch inside the 20 to draw the touchback. Would this – you'd effectively have to remove that part of the rule. But I love it. I mean, if you want special teams to be the third phase, to be a part of the game, then kickoff returns have to be a part of the game instead of just blasting the ball through the end zone. This seems like this has been a good consolation or compromise. As weird as it was to see it the first time, no one even discussed it by the end of the season. It was just something that we all see and accept. It's weird when you see it the first time. Everybody complains about it because nobody likes change. Human beings are resistant to change. Then they implement it, and lo and behold, it works, and nobody's talking about it anymore. So, yes, 35-yard greatest tight ends of all time and is a centerpiece of this decade's dynasty that's won 3 Super Bowls. Well, Jason Kelce, who retired after last season, went on the Steam Room podcast with Ernie Johnson and Charles Barkley. Steam Room. Pretty good name for a podcast. Steam Room? I like it,
yeah.
I don't know. Here's what Jason said about his brother and his retirement plans.
I think I think he probably in his heart already knows what he wants to do. That's the reality of it. We're very similar people, but we also have different ways of thinking about things. And sometimes I can way overanalyze situations. And any big decision I'm having in my life, I think about the negatives and like, what can this happens or this, or I can go do that, or I want to do too much. And my brother has this way of being like, hey man, you want to play or you don't want to play.
Interesting. Who does that sound like? One guy just overthinks everything, and the other one's like, yeah, let's just do it or not.
I'm glad you went there. That definitely sounds like me playing the role of Jason Kelsey, and you playing the role of Travis.
Call me Uncle Travie.
There we go. I'm not going to call you Uncle Travis.
I demand that you call me Uncle Travie.
I'm not doing that.
Call me Uncle Travie.
No.
Jason Kelsey, noted Enneagram 6.
Yes.
Travis Kelsey, noted Enneagram. He might be a 7.
Could be.
Seems like he'd be a 7, right? I don't know.
I haven't seen the temper, so I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, what about when he bumped Big Red on the sideline?
Well, no, wait, there you go. That was 8 behavior.
So,
yeah.
But here's the bottom line. Travis Kelsey had a bad, by his standard year, the 823 receiving yards. That was the lowest since 2014. Lowest receiving yard total in a decade for Travis Kelsey. So he's third all time in receiving yards behind among tight ends, behind Tony Gonzalez and Jason Witten. And he's also third in receptions for a tight end, fifth in receiving touchdowns by a tight end. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. By the way, the tight end, you want to guess you want to guess the tight ends he trails for receiving touchdowns?
Antonio Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Antonio Gates. Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Gronk?
Yeah.
I'm out. I don't got anybody else. Oh, wait. Graham? Jimmy Graham? Jimmy Graham. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stunning that Jimmy Graham is on that list. The fourth most receiving touchdowns by a tight end ever. I mean, what the Saints did separating him and Drew Brees. Criminal. Hour 2 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020. You want to see 2020? Call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Friends over at the Williamson Eye Center certainly can get you set up for that free, no obligation consultation. I always recommend you have the consultation. Kyle handles the consultations. She's great. You can do it virtually if you want. Let's say you're driving home from work or to work, or you got 20 minutes to jump on a Zoom during your lunch hour. This is just an information gathering process. That's all it is. It's not a sales pitch. It's just, let me find out a little about your vision history, and they'll go over some of the options that might make sense for you. It's just about information gathering. Start there. Trust me, you'll be thrilled. Change your life, man. Ditch the contacts and glasses forever. The Williamson Eye Center can make it happen. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, Know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. It's becoming the norm for the top NFL prospects. ESPN's Pete Thamel reports former Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty will not work out at the Combine this week. Jeanty is ranked 4th on Mel Kiper Jr.'s new big board. An unidentified NFL team is asking league owners to ban the tush push, the quarterback sneak variation mastered by the Super Bowl champion Eagles. The Lakers are 4th in the West with 27 games left. ESPN's Tim Bontemps says the next 3 weeks or so are critical.
Over that stretch, they play a ton of really good teams, both in LA and elsewhere. And after that 3-week stretch, I think we're going to have a much better sense of just how good this team is and what they're capable of.
Tim Bontemps on Clinton and Friends. Cleveland Guardians owner Lawrence Dolan has died. He bought the team in 2000. He died of natural causes at 94. Texas is number 1 in the women's college basketball poll for the first time in 21 years. Auburn is number 1 in the men's poll for the 7th week in a row.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, Shedeur Sanders won't work out at the Combine, and I'll tell you why that's a miss for all of the top quarterback prospects. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Musona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Musona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yes. Oh. And Mr. Toby Tomplate. All right, we're here to let you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Talk some Combine with Josh Edwards, draft analyst, about 30 minutes from right now. David Dellucci, who talks some college baseball in 1 hour. And you better believe we will talk about this with David Dellucci. This just coming in from Ryan Brawninger of Texags. Texas A&M, little breaking news here. Texas A&M third baseman, a preseason All-American, Gavin Graffagnini, will have surgery to repair his left shoulder. He will miss the remainder of the 2025 season. According to the report, Graffagnini been fighting it the first 2 weeks, got to the point where it was unbearable. He wrote untenable, but and Gavin Graffagnini, season is over. Just a little more than a week into it. A massive blow for the number 1 team in America. All right. I'll get Dave Dellucci's thoughts on that in 1 hour from right now. How about the Pels? Managed to get themselves a win last night. Hey, Muse, give me Graff!
Jose trying to repose Z.
Oh, you got it.
Got him on the block. Takes it to Johnson. Lays it in and one.
You got it. That's a grown man.
We just haven't had enough opportunities for some obvious reasons. But Graff joins us now. How are you?
You're right.
Yeah, you're right. Fire it up.
Omaha.
Let's go. Omaha. Hit it, Muse. Graff, I'm telling you, man.
Muse has had a rough day.
Graff. Muse, what do you have to say for yourself?
It's been a rough day. I mean, I can't hide from it. It's been a rough day.
Kind of like.
But those happen.
For the Pelicans, it's been a rough season. It's been a rough every day. Really.
That in the business, Matt, is called a segue.
Hey!
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll take. Yeah, it has been. We didn't know it at the time, Matt, but I mean, the season effectively ended in the first week when DeJounte Murray got hurt on opening night. And 3 games later, Herb Jones got dove on by Brandon Pajemski in San Francisco. He was out a month. In the same game, C.J. McCollum got hurt. He was out 15 games. And then a little bit after that, Zion got hurt, and Brandon Ingram got hurt. And, I mean, it's just been one after the other. And it's just been rough. So when you get, you kind of take the wins when you can get them. They've been few and far between. But actually, Pels have won 2 of their last 3 games. And, you got 14 on the year. And it's just nice because, look, Matt, losing sucks, okay? Yes. It sucks. And it's just the feeling when you walk out of the building after you win a game, despite what the record is, it just feels a lot better. And quite frankly, the fans that have been in the Smoothie King Center all season long, they deserve it. This has been a loyal group because it has not been good basketball for whatever reason. And there have been different reasons to blame as far as the losses go all year long. But the fans that have been in the Smoothie King Center have been loyal. And I mean, look, it's nowhere near capacity in the last month, but it's been loud in there, and it was loud in there last night. So you got to feel good for the fans as well.
The worst part about the game I did watch last night and listened as well. I was a little in and out of the car. Were the Spurs uniforms. Those like kind of, what do we call that, mauve? What do we call that color, Graph?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like a light blue hueish, not white. Very strange. Those are their version of their city edition.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's the second time they've worn them this year. I mean, I think we personally have the best city editions, which you obviously disagree with. But
I was waiting for a Skeletons reference.
Well, the thing about it, Matt, and I really hate to admit this because it's probably going to verify what you've been thinking about those city edition uniforms, which I love. We have not won in them the entire season. We are over.
Well, in fairness, Graph, the team's got 14 wins on the year. They haven't won a lot at all.
No.
I mean, that just happens. The correlation does not always equal causation.
I've been at every game, Matt. I get it.
Oh, God. The best part about it, though, Graf, for all of us is like I can listen to you for 15 or 20 minutes and be like, you know what, I'm just going to tap out tonight. Like, this is just going to be it for tonight. Hey, I haven't had a chance to talk to you, though, since the trade deadline. I would just love to get your take on I mean, listen, they obviously didn't add pieces that are intended to help them win right now, but just your take on the decision to move BI when they did.
Well, I think ultimately it came down to finances, and I just don't think – and look, Brandon loved being here, and the organization loved having him here. I just don't think that the organization was willing to put up the money that Brandon Ingram was asking for, and he got that in Toronto.
Yeah.
And, look, he was an integral part of this team for 6 years. When the Pels traded for him, that was my first year in. That was the Anthony Davis trade when Brandon came over and Josh Hart and Lonzo Ball. Brandon was the last piece of that trade. So it was tough letting him go, but just financially it did not work. And especially when you consider the amount of games that he missed again this year. Last year was his most durable season. He played 70 games. But the problem at the end of last year is when Zion Williamson got hurt in the play-in tournament and Brandon really needed to carry the team against OKC in the playoffs, he was completely locked down by Lou Dort. And, if you're asking for that type of money, which he was ultimately, and, you could point to really that playoff series that might have been the end of it as far as giving him what he wanted, and that would have been a max extension. I just think it was really financial. And look, he got the contract that he wanted in Toronto, and I mean, nobody's going to wish him anything but the best because he was an outstanding player when he was available, but he wasn't available enough. I mean, look, he injured his ankle, Matt, in December. He still hasn't played. He has not come back from that. He hasn't played in Toronto yet.
Yeah.
And, we're a week past the All-Star break. So, that's kind of part of the deal as well.
Graff is with us, of course, radio voice of the Pels. Proud here in 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge to be an affiliate of the Pelicans radio network. The one bright spot, Graff, is that when Z's been on the floor, man, he's really good.
Yep.
If I asked you, this is an impossible question to answer, but just take your best stab at it. If they hadn't had the injuries and you had Murray and you had Z healthy and everything you just went through, what do you think is realistic? Where would they be right now? Maybe not a number, but just where would they be in the Western Conference pecking order?
I think at least they would have been in a play-in look. It's impossible to speculate. Look,
right.
The West is very, very tough. The teams right now that are 9 and 10 are 3-4 games over 500. So if you would have just hung around 500 this year, you would have given yourself at least a look at a play-in. But Matt, it's really been unbelievable because the only time the intended group was together the entire season was the first 2 days of training camp in Nashville. After the second practice, we're looking around going, you know what? I think we're going to be pretty good this year. And then the third practice, Trey Murphy left with a hamstring injury, and the roster has never been fully intact since. Even opening night, Zion didn't play on opening night. Everybody else played except for Zion and Trey Murphy. So the starting intended five never played a minute together.
It's crazy.
It's been that kind of a year. But, getting back to the original point, Zion's fantastic. We knew he was fantastic. He's in the best shape of his professional life. He and Daniel Bove, who's in our sports performance team, have been just tirelessly working day after day. And you can see what kind of shape he's in that. He is on a strict minutes restriction. They are not going to deviate from that. I talked to the other play-by-play guys before the game, and they asked me about it. I said, this is what's going to happen. He's going to play 4 minutes. They're going to take him out. They're going to put him back in at the end of the first quarter. He'll play at the beginning of the second quarter. He'll come out for the majority. I literally tell them what's going to happen. And then I go, oh, by the way, he's going to score a point a minute. He'll wind up with 28, 29, 35 points, and he'll play 28 minutes, and you're like, oh, my goodness gracious. And that's exactly what's happening. Yeah. He was a little less efficient last night than he usually has been. He still ended up with 22 points, but he played the 28 minutes, and he's just been phenomenal. And, if you talk about his efficiency to minutes played, he is on par with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is going to win the NBA MVP this year.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Hey, Graff, I got about 60 seconds. Could the NHL work in New Orleans?
Minor league hockey was pretty good. I just don't think you could do it for 41 games. The Brass played at the Smoothie King Center way back when. I don't see it. I just don't know how it could be supported when you're talking about an NFL team, an NHL team, and an NBA team. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to an NHL game, Matt, and I have, it is without question the best in-person sport to watch. It is fantastic. And I think people would take to hockey if they were, subject to it on an NHL level. They would definitely be fans of it. I just don't know if it could be supported financially.
Todd Graffagnini Pels back at it against the Spurs tomorrow. CP3 back in New Orleans again. We'll talk about that next time, too. Graf, appreciate it as always, man. We'll talk soon.
Great to talk to you, Matt.
You too, man. Be well. It's After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. Not got a quick break. LSU, a little bit of a progressive NIL move. We'll explain next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Let me guess. Your employee didn't show up. You lacked productivity as a result. Revenue was off that day. You didn't function. You had to call someone else in, stress your other employees out. Sound familiar? Doesn't have to be that way. Glow Resources can help. You want to find the right people. That's where Glow Resources comes in. They are complete employer solutions. At Glow, they use their wide net of connections to find the best possible candidate for your job. As a matter of fact, they have a 96% success rate. When Glow Resources goes and finds someone for your business, 96% of the time it works. In those very rare instances where it doesn't, they'll give you a prorated refund or find a new employee for free. What do you have to lose? It's Glow Resources. Check them out online at GLO, glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Hat tip Wilson Alexander over at The Advocate had a nice piece today where he sort of explained a new NIL effort that LSU is engaging in with their longtime media rights partner, Playfly Sports. If you're not familiar, so when you hear, like, for example, our sister station, Eagle 98.1, is the flagship for LSU athletics. So we have a deal with the LSU Sports Radio Network. And if you're ever listening to a broadcast, you'll hear say, this is a presentation of the LSU Sports Radio Network, a division of Playfly Sports. What happened is a lot of these collegiate media networks essentially sold their rights to Playfly, who then owns it and sells the rights, sort of things like that. And so LSU apparently joined a program started by Playfly Sports. It's an initiative called NILSU Max. And LSU granted Playfly the exclusive right to provide NIL services on behalf of the athletic department. And for this, the Playfly is paying LSU a rights fee. So Playfly paid LSU a $3 million signing bonus, or has to by June 2026. And then an additional $375,000 per year in annual rights fees through 2027. And then as long as Playfly provides the NIL service, it'll pay a $1 million signing bonus from 27 to 29 and a $3 million guarantee annually through the end of that contract. Okay. So all that to say, it's a lot of guaranteed money for LSU. And then Playfly gets the opportunity to go negotiate deals for LSU student athletes with companies. And Playfly has this wide network of businesses that they're already doing sponsorship deals with for their media broadcasts. Well, now they can go say, well, would you like to do an NIL deal with Garrett Nussmeier, whoever, right? And they would have the exclusive rights to go negotiate those deals. Now, Garrett Nussmeier could go do a deal on his own. He doesn't need Playfly to do a deal. Like, I could go to Garrett and say, hey, you want to endorse Parish Construction and Roofing? We could pay Garrett on the side and do a deal independent of Playfly. Like, that's still very much legal. But from an LSU perspective, I think this is really smart. This is a really smart thing to do because for a couple reasons. Number one, and remember, maybe this is the thing I should have started with. It is still assumed that revenue share is going to be rubber stamped, and that's going to start this fall. And revenue share is exactly what it sounds like. Athletic departments can share in their revenue with their student athletes up to $20.5 million. So every single athletic department knows now they are going to have to pay their student athletes $20.5 million. So that means they got to find that money in the budget, where they're cutting things in the budget, or they're making more money, or both. So new revenue streams and cutting waste in the budget is effectively what LSU and every athletic department is having to do. Because if you're LSU and you made $200 million in revenue and you spent $200 million in revenue, which is basically what happens every year. Most athletic departments operate at a deficit. LSU might make a little bit of money. But anyway, the point is you had to go cut in your budget and find new revenue streams. Well, here's a new revenue stream, and it's guaranteed. And it's something that wasn't going to make you any money anyway. Like, you weren't going to make money brokering deals, NIL deals for your student athletes. Now you can. And it's going to provide more opportunity for your student athletes because Playfly has a lot of these corporate partnership and relationships already, and they can go negotiate those deals. Great. So that's one. It's going to generate revenue in the revenue share era where everyone's looking for how can we make more revenue. Wilson also wrote about in his piece how LSU said sponsor logos on the field at Tiger Stadium are coming and at the box are coming, and whenever sponsorship patches are allowed on football jerseys, LSU is going to be very aggressive in seeking a partnership there as well. So that's all coming. And it's fine. I don't care. Put a patch on the jersey, sell it. I mean, whatever. It's also very good that it's a third party that keeps it above board. Because one of the things that's happening with revenue share is NIL as pay for play is expected to cease. Every single NIL deal above $600 moving forward will have to go through a clearinghouse run by Dellucci. We've talked about this before. But basically, if student athlete X wants to do a $1,000 NIL deal with a local car wash, I'll use today's show is brought to you by Relief Windows. Let's say Brandon Holly wants to go do an NIL deal with Harold Perkins. I'm just throwing it out hypothetically, and wants to pay Harold $2,000 for an appearance. Okay, before that can be consummated, that deal has to go to Dellucci to approve that it's fair market value. And if it's not, they send it back and say, nope, can't do that. Here's what we suggest is fair market value. You can do this deal. Or they rubber stamp it. Everything over $600. So the idea is that's going to stop pay for play. You're not going to give someone $500,000 to sign a bat. You know what I mean? Like that's the hope here is that this stops. I'm very skeptical of it because I think as long as there is a will, you are going to find wealthy people who are trying to funnel money into their athletic departments are going to find a way to circumvent the rules. I don't know what it's going to look like. Just like when NIL started, when NIL started on July 1st of 2021, nobody had a concept of what a collective was or what it would do and become. So what will happen moving forward? I don't know. I just know that there's going to be people with money aggressively seeking ways to give their school a competitive advantage. I don't know how that's going to look, but that's going to happen. So all this to say, I think this is a great idea. Enforcement of it is going to be a challenge. But for LSU specifically with this deal with Playfly, I think it's really smart because what LSU didn't do back in July of 2021, they weren't ready to be aggressive in the NIL era. They thought they were by saying, hey, we're open for business, NILSU. They take Livy Dunn up to Times Square and put her on a billboard. Hey, come do deals with our student athletes. What they didn't realize is what was actually happening among the haves was massive fundraising for pay-for-play under the guise of NIL. And so LSU was very far behind. This shows LSU as being very progressive and getting out in front of this because not a lot of schools have done deals like this. So I like this. I like this for every reason you can like this. Ross Dellinger has a piece up right now at Yahoo if you want to go check it out. And when Ross was in town last week, he went and sat down with Brian Kelly over at Football Ops for a little while. Part of what they talked about was this new initiative, was rev share. And Brian Kelly told Ross that part of if there's violations, they're talking about heavy fines and suspensions. So you're talking about actual punitive damages. Like, you go awry of this, they could suspend you. All right, that is punitive. That has teeth. My point is, and will continue to be, that sounds great. How do you enforce it? Because the first time Deloitte nixes an NIL deal, they're getting sued. The NCAA is getting sued, and we've seen how that's happened. They keep losing in court over and over and over again. What's to say this is going to be any different? I don't know. I appreciate the effort. I appreciate what they're trying to do. Remains to be seen if they can actually execute it. All right, we're brought to you by Evermore, EVA-MOR. See, if I was an athlete, this would be like NIL. I love telling you about Evermore. It's a natural artesian water, rare alkaline source, Mother Nature's masterpiece. Not all water is created the same, y'all. Look, I got the 32-ounce bottle right here on the desk. I got the 64-ounce bottle right here. I'll take these every day. I'll drink 2 of these a day, the big 64-ounces. Give myself 128 ounces of water every single day. It's delicious. If you've never tried it, try it. Put Evermore up next to whatever crappy bottled water that you normally drink. Drink it side by side, and you'll recognize the flavor difference, and you're supporting a great Louisiana company. It's Evermore. EVA-MOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com. All right, let me knock out a break. We'll come back. Josh Edwards will join us. We'll talk a little NFL draft with the Combine getting underway this week in Indianapolis. Who should the Saints be watching? How should the Tigers fare this week? We'll talk about it with Josh Edwards when we come back here on AFR.
AFR.
Gents, it's time to regain your vitality. You sick and tired of being sick and tired? You forgot what it feels like? How many times have you said to yourself, man, I remember when I was in my 20s. Used to go to the gym, had muscles everywhere. It was easy to lose weight, easy to build muscle. Remember that? Had tons of energy. Remember that? It doesn't have to just go by the wayside because you're older. Now, we all age, every one of us. But there is a way to safely and affordably supplement yourself to get you back to healthy hormone levels that contribute to how you feel, the energy you have, burning fat, building muscle, libido, all those things, mental clarity. You want all of those things, you can have them. Simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. YourGoodwood.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Combine going down in Indy this week. Josh Edwards writes about the NFL draft for CBSSports.com. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. How are you, man?
Going pretty well, actually, on the way there now. So excited to begin the festivities tomorrow with some of the general managers and head coaches taking the stage.
I think probably the biggest news today is that Shedeur isn't going to work out. How do you feel about, I mean, that's not new, right? I mean, none of the top 3 guys last year did either. How do you feel about the guys that choose not to work out at the combine?
Yeah, I'm not surprised because Cam Ward and Shedeur have kind of positioned themselves to be the top quarterbacks in this draft class. I know teams feel to varying degrees, about that statement, but I think what disappoints me the most is that I thought Shedeur was somebody that would probably try to make the most of his opportunities because now he's had the chance to compete at the Senior Bowl. He had the chance to compete and throw at the Combine. And I just thought with everything that we make about, the way that, he's gritty, he's tough, he's a coach's son, he's somebody that's always going to be able to handle the pressure and rise to the occasion. I was a little bit disappointed for that reason that he did not decide to throw at the Combine this week.
Is there a player, maybe a high-profile player, that jumps to the forefront? I want to say, hey, who's got the most to gain this week? Like, who comes to mind?
I think there's a few different ways to answer that. I will say Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M is a defensive lineman. He's 6'6", 290 pounds. He has played on the edge at Texas A&M, but I think he has the side to move inside as well. But he's expected to test really well, and where he's ultimately going to be taken in the draft is dependent upon testing well. Alabama linebacker Jihad Campbell is incredibly athletic. He's somebody that, with a strong performance, should solidify himself as a first-round pick as well. But the other way to answer it, I think, is looking at Michigan cornerback Will Johnson Jr., who, to me, was the top prospect coming into this college football season. But he dealt with a nagging injury that really hampered the way that he performed. And he was just kind of a shell of himself. So I think if he comes out and kind of gives a performance to remind people that he is one of the top talents in this draft class, then he's somebody that could certainly help himself as well.
Josh Edwards is with us. Get him on Twitter at EdwardsCBS, talking some NFL Combine. There's 8 LSU guys that are going to be up there. Anyone in particular you're most interested to see this week?
There's a lot of them. I've been a big proponent of Savion Jones, the powerful edge rusher. I thought that he would be talked about more favorably than he has been to this point. I thought he fared well at the Senior Bowl. He's helped himself. And I'm kind of hoping that he's able to continue that in Indianapolis and solidify himself as a day 2, potentially top 50 pick. There's a lot. I mean, Braden Swinson, of course, I think he's sitting just outside of our top 100, but I think he deserves to be in that day 2 conversation pretty solidly as well. Will Campbell, there's going to be questions with his length, his foot speed, all that stuff, whether or not he's able to stay at left tackle, which I think he is capable of doing that. But some of the NFL teams are going to get that question answered this week. So I think LSU has a lot of guys with some stuff at stake this week, and I'm excited to see them come out on the other side of it.
Where do you stand on the Will Campbell length thing? It's something we've kind of talked about here, is kind of warning our audience, like the length of his arms is something that seems to be a bit of a concern.
I feel like we keep moving the threshold a little bit, because at one point it was, well, you can't have sub 33-inch arms. And then he surpassed that, and now it's like, well, you really need to have greater than 34-inch arms. So I think the narrative has kind of been changed. It's kind of a disservice to him. But I think length is very important, because it ultimately is a physical sport, and you're able to dictate the action a little bit more at the point of attack if you have those longer arms against the defensive lineman that most certainly will possess the type of length and quickness moving forward that you don't necessarily have as a left tackle. So it's important, but I think his testing at the Senior Bowl, having those 34-inch arms, I think was enough for me to feel comfortable projecting him as a left tackle. And, if he doesn't stick there, then I still think you're upgrading your offensive line as you try to get the 5 best on the field.
Doesn't it seem kind of odd, Josh? I mean, I watched this guy play so dominant for 3 years in the best conference in college football, and we're talking about an inch on his arm? Like, is that really, mean, it's really that much of a determining factor?
It's crazy, but, those are the type of guardrails that teams put in place to make sure that they don't have a team full of outliers. There are scientific reasons. There is analysis that corroborates what these teams are coming up with in terms of the length necessary at the position. There are certainly outliers of that conversation, and I think a lot of the ways that you're able to make up for a lack of length is just your technical aspects, foot speed, stuff like that. Because if you're a high IQ offensive lineman, you're able to neutralize the defensive lineman in other ways if maybe you don't have the length that teams covet, because it's kind of like losing one of your senses. You become more heightened in other areas. So for an offensive lineman that maybe is not of ideal length, you have to find other ways to be successful. And, the guardrails are in place, but there's certainly going to be teams that look at him and say, we haven't taken chances on players that maybe don't fit those guardrails. So if we have one or two on our roster, that's not going to be a problem.
Interesting way to put it. Josh, the Saints head to Indy, obviously with a new coach and a new staff. I don't know how much you've paid attention to Kellen Moore, but is there anything specifically that would align with Kellen Moore that you think is worth watching this week in Indy with the Saints? I don't know if I'm asking that question the right way, but something maybe specific that Kellen Moore, his offense, his style, might be geared toward?
Well, I think solidifying the offensive line is going to be a priority first and foremost. I know the Saints have tried to do that in the recent years with, Trevor Penning and, last year with Fuaga. I think that's going to be a priority, just making sure that's in place because there were some injuries along the interior offensive line. He comes from Dallas and Philadelphia, where you not only had 5 quality starters across the board, but you also had playable depth in a lot of those roles as well. So I think he's going to want to make sure that he's comfortable with the 7 or 8 guys that he's taking into the season for the upcoming year. I don't think that running back is going to be the most important thing, even with what we saw from Saquon Barkley this year. I think he's probably going to look to get another complementary piece to Chris Olave there in the building as well, take some of the pressure off of him. Obviously, Olave was very vocal this past year in terms of his issues with his usage in the offense and the way that the team was built and stuff like that. So I think he probably would like to have somebody that's going to take the pressure off of Chris Olave. And then once you get those two things in place, then you can start worrying about the running back position and some other things. But I would say first and foremost, he's going to want to make sure the offensive line is correct.
Josh Edwards, CBS draft analyst. He's on Twitter at EdwardsCBS. Hey, before you go, what is the best part and the worst part about the combine?
The walking is terrible.
I thought Indy was good. I thought Indy was walkable.
It's great. What I don't think a lot of people understand is that this time of year, it's not always the most friendly in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I think, the gods are smiling down on us a little bit this week with a little bit more favorable weather, but you get down amidst some of those buildings, it's like a wind tunnel, and you have to walk from, wherever you're lodged to the convention center. It can definitely be brutal at times. There's a lot of people you want to speak with, still only a finite amount of time that you can do so. So that's a blessing and a curse, but I think at the end of the day, just being able to see a lot of these players in person and kind of put eyes on some of the, bias that you have coming into this event is ultimately what is the most beneficial, at least for us in the media.
Have a good week, man. We appreciate a couple minutes as always.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
All right, be well. Josh Edwards, CBS Sports Little Combine preview there. It's after further review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gents, thinking about popping the question, go where our state's gone to get engaged for 4 decades. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. If they don't have what you want, they can find it. If they can't find it, they'll make it. That's the benefit of doing business at Lee Michaels. With 9 stores, they've got enough selection that the small boutiques don't. But with 9 stores, they're also not as cookie cutter as the big box store, so they can give you that personalized customer service. It's just right. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Online, lmfj.com. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 8 LSU Tigers invited to the Combine. I do think the Will Campbell piece is interesting. I can't get around the whole arm length thing. And I get it, man. It's like the small hand thing with the quarterbacks, and I get it. There are things that become statistical norms and accepted practices within the NFL when you're dealing in aggregate with that many people. You're evaluating thousands of prospects, but then also looking at mountains of data of players that have succeeded in the NFL. My goodness, it is just really hard to look at the body of work that Will Campbell put out over 3 years at LSU at that position and try to tell me that if his arm were a half inch longer, he'd be no doubt. Like, what? It feels like we're out thinking the room here a little bit with that. I do think there's a lot of guys with a ton to gain. I think Emory Jones is probably the guy with the most to gain because he went into this season in a lot of mock drafts as a projected first-round pick. This year didn't have quite as good a year as he did a season ago. You don't see him projected as highly as you once did. Very likely a guy that kicks inside and plays guard at the next level. But Emory's a guy who went to the Senior Bowl, acquitted himself very nicely, and if he goes and has a good week here in Indy and tests off the charts, and most importantly, I think passes the medical, I think he's a guy that you could see rise up some teams' draft boards because he's going to be impressive when he goes and talks to these NFL teams. All right. It is After Further Review. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Let me knock out a break. Come back. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2. David Dellucci in 15 minutes. If you're just joining us and you missed it, massive news in the world of college baseball. Texas A&M third baseman Gavin Graffagnini having shoulder surgery. He is done for the season. It's just a colossal blow to the number one team in the country. So we'll talk about that with Luch coming up here in about 15 minutes from right now. And the Tigers are back on the field, an hour and 15 minutes away from first pitch. We'll count you down. We'll get you a preview of LSU and Nichols, a little Monday night baseball out at the box. Don't you move. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
Hey, carnival season is just about here. You're going to be hitting the parade route this weekend? Make sure you get by Rouse's to get everything you need. You need the king cakes? Rouse's. You need the adult beverages? Rouse's. You need the beverages for the whole family? Rouse's. You want tailgate trays that are great for any type of party, including parade? Rouse's. Doesn't matter. You want those trays of chicken wings or mini muffalettas or chicken sandwiches or finger sandwiches or whatever you want. The meat pies, the crawfish egg rolls. My goodness, so many amazing choices. Rouse's can do it right for your tailgate, for your I guess tailgate at a parade as well. You can call it a tailgate at a parade. Your parade party, whatever you're doing. You're getting out to the parade route. Make sure you got plenty of everything from Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's, this feels like home.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Cruising along here on a Monday edition of AFR. Hope you had an awesome weekend. Really jam-packed weekend. Gymnastics, of course, got a win against Kentucky. The baseball team took 2 out of 3. Basketball team, tough loss. The women's basketball team win on the road. Beth Torina's softball squad continues rolling along. Really good time, man. Pels are a little disappointing. No doubt, not a little disappointing, a lot disappointing. But I love the springtime because there's so much going on. There's just, on any given day or any given night of the week, there's just always something to watch. In this case, tonight, LSU baseball. Play a little Monday Night Baseball against Nichols. When the lineup's posted, we'll run through that. That should be here in the next half hour or so. We'll talk with David Dellucci of the SEC Network in about a dozen minutes from right now to recap the weekend, get some thoughts on LSU. And, of course, the giant news in college baseball today is Texas A&M third baseman Gavin Grahovac done for the year, shoulder surgery. That is a big-time blow, but we'll get to all that. All right, right now, Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
When Alex Bregman signed with the Red Sox, we talked about how much he loves hitting at Fenway Park. Apparently, he likes hitting at Fenway South a lot, too. Made his spring training debut with Boston on Sunday. Went 3 for 3 with a home run. Drove in 2 and also came around to score. He played third base for what it's worth. Just to keep that in mind. Obviously,
who won?
There's been,
Who won?
The Blue Jays won.
Yes.
There's been some talk
Bregman
about
3
where.
for 3.
That's what you wanted, right?
Bregman 3 for 3 and Boston losing. That's what I want.
There you go. Well, it happened in spring training. We'll see where that goes. Grant Taylor in spring training with the Chicago White Sox and looking like the guy we all thought he could be after his freshman year at LSU.
Yeah.
Threw the perfect inning, struck out a guy, fastball topped out at 101 miles per hour.
Oh.
Pretty good for Grant Taylor.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. That would have just been completely unfair if he was healthy in 2023.
That really would have been a lot of fun, though. I'd like to see that a lot if we got to see that.
Yeah, and it already was a lot of fun. But, yeah, that would have been.
Grant Taylor. Wow.
Taylor, or Skeens, Taylor Floyd.
Yeah.
Dylan Cruz, speaking of the 2023 team, his debut with the Washington Nationals in spring training on Sunday as well. Went 1 for 2. The one was a triple for Cruz. He would come around to score twice and draw a walk. So he's hitting 500 early here in the spring. And then
really good, too.
Eric Raiselman was the last pitcher out of the bullpen for the Yankees on Sunday. Inning, did give up a run, but didn't walk anybody and struck out 2. So nice debut there for Eric Raiselman as he tries to make his way up to the bigs here in 2025. Naz Reid.
Should have
stayed. Continuing to get the starts for the Timberwolves. 40 minutes this time for Naz. Shot 50% from the floor. Shot 33% from 3, 22 points, 11 boards. Yet again, another double-double. Also blocked 9 shots. Nas, doing big things up there in Minnesota. Ben Simmons.
He was also on top place on SportsCenter.
Was he?
Top 10.
I missed SportsCenter last night, actually, so I did not see that. Was it a dunk? What did he have?
Yeah,
dunk.
Transition dunk, trailing the play, fed him behind, tomahawk. It's awesome.
He's so good, dude. God, he's so good. Can we get him in New Orleans somehow?
No. I don't wish that upon him.
That's a good point. No, that's fair. I want good things for Nas Reed. Yeah. Ben Simmons had 8 and 4 for the Clippers a night ago, and they lost. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. In the market for a new vehicle? Put Volkswagen on your list. If you've driven a Volkswagen before, then I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, because Volkswagen customers are super loyal, because once you drive them, you get it. But you get the great German engineering, the great gas mileage, the great performance, the longevity of the vehicle, all the top safety features among the safest vehicles on the road. And of course, pricing is fantastic. You get all the style, feel, performance of luxury without the cost. And you're supporting American jobs because they're manufactured in the US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. So you check every box. Just put Volkswagen on your list. And Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland. It's Southwest Volkswagen as well over in Lafayette. But southpointvw.com. southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Some of you are asking. Otter locks are already posted. So if you're interested, let me look at how many plays Jimmy has. You can get them at louisianasports.net. Everything at louisianasports.net, always free. We got a 3-pack of college basketball plays up right now at louisianasports.net. So if you want to get Otter locks, you can get them right there over at louisianasports.net. Really interested to see, keep refreshing the LSU Twitter to see when they post the lineup. I'm curious what they're going to do on the bump tonight. If it's going to be Gavin Guidry making his debut. We'll see. Hour 3 next.
After Further Review.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN has learned Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter and Boise State running back Ashton Genty will not work out for NFL teams at the Combine this week. Broncos assistant coach Michael Wilhoit is charged with assaulting a police officer over the weekend in Denver. Wilhoit played in the NFL for 6 years with the 49ers and Seahawks. Shohei Ohtani will likely make his spring training debut as a hitter later this week. As for pitching, ESPN's Jeff Passan says there's no need to rush it coming off a torn labrum.
What you want for October is the best version of the team that you've got. And the best version of this team includes Shohei Ohtani on the mound, so there's no reason to get him back in April or May or even June if you don't have to, because you want him there for the moments that count.
Jeff Passan on Clinton and Friends. Mets lefty Sean Manaea is shut down for a few weeks with a right oblique strain. And in the new rankings, there are 3 American women in the top 5 in world tennis.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Muscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Muscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. A lot to do here with 1 hour to go. Tigers and Nichols 1 hour away from first pitch out at the box. A little makeup of the game that they missed last Wednesday with the inclement weather. And always appreciate our buddy David Dellucci, the SEC Network, SEC legend. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here on Mondays, talk a little college baseball. Luch, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. Kind of weird to have a baseball game on a Monday, but the Tigers should be ready for it.
Yeah, man. They did this last year when they played a 4-game series to open the season. They did like a round robin deal. So you're right, it's uncommon, but not altogether rare. But I wanted to start. We'll get to some of that stuff. I'm sure you saw the news by now that Texas A&M third baseman Gavin Graffagnini is going to miss the rest of the season with a shoulder surgery. Pretty devastating loss. One of the best players in the country on the number one team in the country. Luch, let me just get your reaction to the Graffagnini news.
Yeah, bad, really bad. I mean, this young man had a tremendous freshman career, year last year, extremely talented offensively and defensively, and I know that A&M was really looking for him to put up offensive production to protect Jace Laviolette in that lineup. Now, you lose him. You still have some key pieces in there, some key returners, Hayden Schott being one of them. But that's a big opening for a young man that knows the strike zone, can hit for power. I'm telling you, you think of Jared Jones and how physical he is. Graffagnini is not that size, but looks very similar in stature. So big loss for the number one A&M team.
Hit 298 with 23 homers as a freshman. I mean, that is it just takes a giant hole out of that lineup. There's just no doubt about it. A&M also lost to Cal Poly over the weekend. LSU lost to Omaha. I know there's a lot of people here kind of rolling their eyes at that. How much credence you put in some of those early season losses to sort of inferior teams like that, Luch?
Well, you want to win them all, right? And I've been saying, like, if you got to look up where the team is located on Google, you need to win those ball games. You shouldn't be losing. Now, LSU's defense, it's a doubleheader. Weather's kind of nasty. They're not in their regular routine. When you go into the weekend as a young player, you kind of have everything lined out as when I need to wake up, when I need to start stretching, when I need to get to the field. A doubleheader throws a wrench in that. Now, there were some mistakes in there. There were some offensive approaches that I think were learning lessons for the LSU team and realizing it doesn't matter who's on the other side. Like, we've got to take this serious and we've got to go pitch by pitch and think about the ball game and the situations. You can't just go up there and swing without really concentrating and focusing on your approach and expect to win. Baseball is different today. Anybody in Division I can beat you at any time. And the Tigers saw that. A&M saw that. But let's face it, LSU is not going to go 71 or 73, however many games that you're going to play, and zero in the whole season. They're going to lose ball games, but I think this is a great learning lesson for them early on.
Hey, Luch, you're going to play tonight. Actually, the lineup just got posted, and William Schmidt's going to get the ball and start. Thought on the Catholic Eye Bear getting his first start?
Where did he go to high school at?
Tallahassee! There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Here come Bears on here. I love that, man.
I love William Schmidt, man. Schmitty is a great pitcher. Thankfully, we got him in college this year and not going pro. What I like about him is he's very versatile. We saw him out of the bullpen already this year. He can also start games. This is a great opportunity to get his feet wet as a starter because as the season progresses, you may end up seeing him in that role. And why will he be so good in that? Because he can throw his fastball up to 97, 98 miles an hour. He pitches up in the strike zone, which makes it very difficult to catch up to. And he's got a well above average curveball that is let's just say it's major league level along with a changeup. So a fantastic pitcher. I'm excited for him to get this opportunity. I think he's going to do well, and it's a way to get the butterflies out of his system early on in the season.
Luch, we haven't seen Gavin Guidry yet. I mean, I get asked every single day, like, why haven't we seen Gavin Guidry? I think he probably would have pitched last week. Jay said he would have pitched last week against Nichols that they play that game. But any thought there about why we haven't seen Guidry out there yet?
No, I don't know. Some players take a little longer to get going than others. Some players have a little tweak early in spring that you want to take care of. Not 100% sure. Gavin Guidry is a pitcher that relies on his breaking pitches, and it's very important to make sure he is healthy and that when he comes in the ball game that he can reach for that pitch and not have to worry about a feeling that he has in his elbow or in his shoulder. But fortunately for LSU, they're deep enough that they don't have to rely on him right now. And you want a healthy Gavin Guidry, whether it's a month into the season or whenever it takes to have him out there and not have to worry about his health.
Might be situational too, Luch. I mean, like you said, Jay said he was going to pitch last Wednesday against Nichols had they played that game. I mean, one of the things you kind of sort of theorize, you tell me your thought on this, is like we know what Gavin Guidry is in high leverage situations. He's been doing that since he showed up on campus. Maybe it's a situation where early in the season Jay had an opportunity to get some other guys that they haven't seen work in those moments.
Yeah, it could be that. And the other thing is, as you mentioned, high leverage guy, like I've played with a lot of closers in college and in the major leagues where if they come in a situation other than game on the line, bottom of the ninth type, you need an out right there, they're not very good at it. And Gavin Guidry is wired differently than everybody else on that staff. So it could be situational. It could be the weather, could be an issue. No way to know right now.
Okay. David Dellucci is with us, SEC Network, of course, SEC legend. Hey, we talked a little bit about the injury to Graffagnini in LSU's weekend. What else stood out most, the biggest storyline from this weekend in SEC baseball for you?
Alabama had a great weekend, and it's an Alabama team that really was lacking pieces in the bullpen last year. Their bullpen has been fantastic so far. Mississippi State has done well over the weekend. Georgia has done well. I mean, the SEC is doing exactly what they're supposed to, and now you're going to see like some of these teams are going to spread it out. Like LSU is going to Arlington, and they're going to face some competition right out of the gate. Dallas Baptist is going to be good. Kansas State has had some upsets so far. Nebraska has beat Vanderbilt. So you're going to start facing some different teams that can hurt you if you make mistakes. Arkansas fell over the weekend. So we're still early. We're still early, but what stood out to me was Alabama had one heck of a weekend. They came back from a 10-run deficit for a walk-off home run to win it. So that's kind of the highlight for the SEC outside of LSU.
You like the classic, the neutral site classic games and series that teams are playing to become more common now?
I think it's cool for the players to be able to go to big league ballparks and go to different places that they wouldn't have that opportunity to go to. I think it's neat. Me personally, I like playing close to home. I like playing in front of my fans. And oftentimes when you go to those big ballparks, it's really cool to be there. But, man, it just stinks when you just hear echoes and there's nobody in there. Like, it's a give or take deal. But I think if you get indoors this time of the season, that's also a benefit as well.
David Dellucci, SEC Network, SEC baseball legend. Going to join us Mondays here, talk a little college baseball. Look forward to another good week, Luch. We appreciate it, man. Oh, by the way, real quick, wait before you go. I forgot last week. I was at my parents' house yesterday. They had the St. George leader on their table, and it was all the people running for office. I saw Luch. You're running for what, for city council in the city of St. George?
That is correct. I'm running. I appreciate you bringing that up. I'm running for city council at large position. There are 2 spots for at-large council members.
What does that mean?
At-large means I will oversee the whole city of St. George if I'm elected. St. George will have 5 district council members and 2 at-large council members. So, hey, I want to give back, man. I have served my community since I retired from baseball. This is our opportunity to get off on a great start, develop a solid foundation, and I think there's room for improvement with our recreational sports in our area, and that's going to be something that I really, really focus on improving for our kids. They deserve better than what they've been getting.
All right. Old Luch. When you going to run for president in 2028?
That is a negative.
All right.
I never had Matt. I never had aspirations to be in the media. You can chalk that off my list because I am now part of the media and now a politician. Why not? But I want to help develop something that I think is going to be really good. And hey, look, both you and I have ties with Coach Sid Edwards. I want to make sure Baton Rouge is in our corner as well, and we work good with them. So
that's awesome.
I'm a team player, man. I want everybody to succeed.
Good stuff, man. Good luck, Luch. We appreciate the time as always.
Thanks for having me.
I'm in.
I appreciate it, man.
Of course. Be well. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Well, Friday was fun, man. Terrio was here. We gave away $5,000 live on the air. It's a pretty cool thing to be able to do. But listen, whether you won that or you didn't win that, the bottom line is we like to do fun stuff, and obviously we want to be engaged with people in the community and with our customers. So if you had any issues with your roof, with the rain, God, Sunday was it rained all day Sunday. And I mean, I say it all the time, there's two ways to find out if you got damage to your roof. Number one, you let us come do a free, no obligation roofing inspection, or you wait for it to rain, and when it rains, you get water in your house, and that stinks. One of those options is better than the other. So let us come do that free, no obligation roofing inspection. Get ahead of it, because so often by the time you see the water spots on the ceiling in your home, what's happened is you've had a slow leak that is built up over time. Maybe that leak has gotten into the insulation, the decking in your attic, could mess up electrical throughout the house. You could have so many issues as a result of that over time that you're not aware of. Just get that inspection. Let us come help you out. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Fill out the form on the homepage. We'll have someone in touch with you. You don't even have to be home for that inspection. It's really that easy. It's just permission to get up on the roof, walk it, mark it, chalk it. We'll give you that full complimentary inspection report, so you'll have a record of what your roof, the condition was on that day. So if a later weather event happens, you can compare it to that. It's Parish Construction and Roofing. Commercial or residential, we have a gutter division as well. We do it all. We'd love to help you out. Go to parishbuilt.com. That's parishbuilt.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Two things I got to get to. One is LSU football related. ESPN has released their returning production numbers for the SP Plus for 2025. I look at this every year. I think it's fascinating. It's a pretty good indicator for teams in that coming season. We'll get to that. Also, when we come back, LSU has set the lineup. They posted the lineup for the game tonight against Nichols, which starts in 45 minutes. We'll run through it, and I'll give you my takeaways on it. That's next here on AFR.
AFR.
Action Industries, a proud partner of LSU Athletics. As a matter of fact, every mound visit all season long out at the box, brought to you by Action Industries. So if you're at the box or if you're listening to the game on the LSU Sports Radio Network, every time there's a mound visit, you'll hear presented by Action Industries. Of course, those are our friends at Action Industries. Great industrial contractor. It's been around since 1982. For as long as I've been alive, man, Action Industries has been servicing the petrochemical and the refinery market. So all the plants up and down the river, which just are such a meaningful part of our state's economy. Action Industries has been a great partner with those plants for so many years. And, of course, one of the things I like to remind you about with Action Industries as well is the Advanced Turnaround Group. This is their turnaround division. It's a completely separate set of resources specifically for turnaround work. So whenever it's time to bid that turnaround job, love it if you give Action Industries an opportunity to bid that job. It's Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
Need service now? Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you same-day appointments for service, and we offer pickup and delivery of your vehicle from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. If you need sales and service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Boy, Muse sure knows how to play the hits.
Whoops.
Yeah, why don't you just turn it off?
Yeah.
Like, we're better not having any bed than that. Whew. Maybe screen a Muse. Maybe get a rotator.
Well, I did screen that one.
Clearly.
Well, I stopped right before the chorus. I'm like, oh, it was upbeat before. I'm like, this is gonna be great. And then
scroll back. Scroll back. Let me hear what you heard that sounded great.
Not that part. I did not. I had
Paulie.
Hey.
Paulie. Our guy said this sounded great.
Well,
this is upbeat.
I shouldn't have said upbeat. I thought it was picking up.
Said upbeat and this sounded great. Are the words that came out of your mouth.
Not upbeat.
It's not upbeat.
Not upbeat and doesn't sound great.
Here, we're gonna kill it again.
Thank you. What are you doing today?
I don't know. I mean, okay, outside of the first segment, I think it's been pretty good.
No.
Yeah, whoa. I mean, look, we've been on time for everything.
I mean, people are noticing Muse.
He is an hour into it now.
I know.
Paul, come on, man.
I mean, Greg Lehman said at the start of the show, said, I haven't been watching recently, but I tuned in for the opening today. Now I'm turning it off due to the screw-ups from Muso. Get him in line.
You should always listen, Greg.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
But if you're going to screw up, Muso, driving people away.
I don't think that's why.
Why else wouldn't he be here?
Maybe he's busy. Life happens, man.
LSU's going to play baseball. You going to the game? You going to the box?
I'm not going tonight, no.
LSU plays here in 39 minutes. Remember last week they were scheduled to play Nichols on Wednesday. Bad weather. That game got moved, so they're playing tonight. And then LSU make the trip to the Bayou Down in April. And lineups posted. There are some really interesting notes here. Number one, William Schmidt is going to get the ball. So the freshman out of Cali will make his first career start. Saw Schmidt pitch opening weekend out of the bullpen. He was warming up this weekend. We didn't see him, though. But so he'll start this game. The thing that I keep getting asked about over and over and over again is Gavin Guidry. Now, I told you at the beginning of the show I had no idea, but I thought Gavin was going to start this game. It stands to reason Guidry and Connor Ware would be the guys that were in line to get starts. The thing I thought they would do is start Ware Wednesday in Arlington against Dallas Baptist. They like Connor Ware a lot. Best information I could gather is if anybody in that starting rotation were to wobble, Ware would be the next guy into the rotation. So you're going to go play in a big league ballpark against a ranked team in Dallas Baptist. Yeah, start Connor Ware. See how he fares in that. So this would have been an opportunity to start Guidry. Instead, they're going to start Schmidt. People are asking, is there something going on with Guidry? It doesn't sound like it. I mean, Jay Johnson was asked this last week. I mean, the whole idea was that he was going to pitch against Nichols last Wednesday had they played there. Like, here was that interaction.
Was Gavin going to throw whenever?
Yeah, he was going to pitch yesterday.
So it'll go Monday then?
Not necessarily. Yeah, it would just kind of go back to taking it one at a time.
Did he throw like a longer bullpen yesterday just to keep his arm close?
He definitely did what he needed to do yesterday to be prepared for the weekend.
Okay, so Guidry was supposed to pitch on Wednesday. The game got scratched. Instead of pitching, he threw as you heard Jay say there, a bullpen to do what he had to do to get ready to pitch in the weekend. The situation didn't present itself for him to pitch this weekend, which led me to believe they'll probably start him today. Schmidt's going to start, so I mean, you got to get Guidry out there at some point. I would guess it would be tonight. At this point, like if he doesn't throw today, that would be a little surprising. What more are you holding him back for 7 games into the season? Now, this is your 8th game into the season, so we'll see what happens. But Schmidt will start. That'll be exciting to see him get out there on the bump tonight for his first start as a Tiger. I assume we'll see Guidry at some point in this ball game, but it remains to be seen. And there are some other notable changes. It's hard to look at anything other than the very top of the lineup. Braswell is sitting for the 2nd consecutive game, and they've got Tanner Reeves starting at third base and leading off. So they'll go Reeves, Curiel Jones, Josh Pearson in right, batting cleanup, followed by Dickinson and Larson, who will DH. Cade Arambidi gets the start at catcher for this ball game. Then the bottom of your order here is Milam and then Stanfield. So Milam will bat 8th and play short. Stanfield will play center and bat 9th. So Stanfield sort of takes the spot where you're going Milam Braswell near the bottom of the lineup. Well, now you can put Stanfield at the bottom and let Reeves lead off. Reeves led off game 3 of the series, played third, led off, got on base a couple times, scored a couple of runs, and played a good third base. Reeves is the guy they like and who would probably be a starter most anywhere else in the country. He has Braswell in front of him here. But with Braswell batting sub 200 in the early going, kind of fighting it a little bit, he's 3 for 17 in the early part of this season. It's an opportunity to get Reeves some playing time. I'm not really worried about Braswell. I guess you could have the conversation about a guy who was inconsistent over 2 years in Columbia at South Carolina and then came here and really emerged as a junior last season at LSU, hit over 300 and was very, very good for you. And that was kind of one of the feathers in the cap of Jay Johnson, especially when we talked about Chris Stanfield, because it was similar, right? You had a guy that in Braswell had been in the SEC for a couple of years, had kind of lost his way, hadn't been consistent offensively, came to LSU and hit. So a lot of us thought the same with Stanfield, who'd been about a 270 hitter at Auburn, comes to LSU. Maybe Jay could find that stroke. Is such a good offensive coach. Maybe the same thing there. But Tanner Reeves getting the start again tonight here, leading off and playing third. So, again, for LSU tonight, it'll be Reeves, Curiel Jones, Josh Pearson, Dickinson Larson, and then Arambidi, Milam, Stanfield is how they'll line it up. Let's keep an eye on Cade Arambidi as well. We continue to see that rotation behind the plate with Hernandez and Arambidi. We've yet to see Priester get a start at catcher. I think Hernandez right now has probably outplayed Arambidi. Certainly as an offensive player, he's got 3 doubles already on the young season. And had a hit that broke up the or in the rally in game 2 that they lost. Had a double in game 3 as well, scored the first run. So Hernandez played pretty well, but it'll be Arambidi tonight. The way I'll keep saying it, Arambidi's got the higher ceiling. He's just a freshman who's got undeniably, I think, has the higher ceiling. But right now, when you look at a guy like Hernandez, who has 600 career collegiate at-bats, he's just a more experienced player. So how quickly can Arambidi sort of catch up on that growth curve this year as a freshman is an interesting storyline worth watching. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by our friends over at Supper Club. Closed today. Remember, Supper Club closed Sunday, Monday, but they'll reopen on Tuesday. Tuesday to Saturday, you want the best dining experience you'll have anywhere? Supper Club. There was an AFR listener who Friday, when Terrio was in here, asked, hey, got an anniversary coming up, thinking about going to Supper Club. How much should I budget relative to